Welcome to Surviving the Dream with your hosts, Casey Arnold
and David Conley.
We're here to talk to people who seem to have their dream job and find out, what did it take? Is it what they imagined? Is it worth it? How do they do it?
Join us as we uncover the secrets of surviving the dream.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Casey. How's it going? How's the dream going?
My dream feels very positive today.
Oh, really? Oh, I want to hear that. Why?
You know what? It does actually. You're going to make fun of me. Why? But I went and did. I'm going to admit this out loud, even though I know it sounds fucking batshit. I got a reading done over the weekend, and it was a very positive reading. She pulled cards, and it was she called it an intuitive reading.
Not a reading of a screenplay. You mean like tarot card reading?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get on with the guest.
For those of you who aren't haters, it was very positive and it feels like things are coming true, and it made me feel optimistic because I need a little dose of optimism, and I'm okay with that.
Good for you. All right. Who have we got here today then?
You're so extra ornery today. It's hilarious. All right. Try and aim that at me and keep it away from our guest. Okay. Our guest today is very delightful. She's a makeup artist from a bunch of successful film and television shows like Las Vegas, The Bling Ring, Community, Get Shorty, Physical, Just Kidding. And she's a good human being. Welcome, Laura Leppanen.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to meet you, Laura.
I'd like to hear more about your reading, Casey.
All right, go, you two. You talk about the reading.
I think we could all use a dose of optimism right now.
I think we could, I'll make it quick, Dave. I have had several readings over the last, 5, 8, 10 years, whatever. It's not something I do often, but every now and then I'm like, let's see what happens. And I got a whole slew of them that were all like the card of death. And it was like, oh, terribleness. Oh, you've got to block. Oh, you got to get pepper. And it just was shit soup everywhere. Mm-hmm. And this time I went in and I was like, all right, what do you got in store for me now? And every card she pulled was great. And then she was like, oh, you just got the 3 best cards in the deck. And yes, this job is going to happen. And that job you just asked about is going to happen. Oh, and this relationship is going to happen. Was she blowing smoke? I don't know. Maybe, but it was a bunch of fucking optimism. And I left feeling better, and it's motivated me, and things have been going better. So take that.
All that matters. That's all that matters.
That's all. If it makes you happy, that's good.
Exactly.
Isn't that a Sheryl Crow song?
You can take that and you can project that out in the world, and you can
Exactly
yourself then.
Whatever
right. It feels
works.
better in my head. Thank you for asking, Laura. Thank you. So Laura, you work as a makeup artist. Was that the original dream? What did it start as? How did you get there?
It was always something that I was very passionate about. Growing up, I was always the one that, your girlfriends would come to. Oh, can you help me do my makeup? Can you help me do my hair? Blah, 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 blah. Really, I was like Little Miss Dancer Actress. So that was really what I wanted to do. And as a kid, I went to a high school that had a very well-known theater department. And
what school was that? Cambridge
Ring and Latin in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Oh, I'm from Cambridge.
You are?
In England.
On the other side.
Different Cambridge.
Yeah. It's a college town. Yeah.
Yeah. But and then I was an acting major at Emerson College.
Oh.
So there was nothing there makeup-wise or anything like that. Actually, in high school, I wanted to go to cosmetology school. But, Boston, especially back then, I think it's gotten a little bit better now, but there's always been this division of white collar to blue collar when it comes to that sort of thing. So coming from a white collar background, when I started saying I wanted to go to cosmetology school, the way that the school system is set up, you can't do that. It's either one or the other. You're either on the college fast track, or the idea is you really weren't smart enough to get into college, so here you're going to go and learn a trade, which really sucks because I'm a huge believer in trade schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call that town v gown in Cambridge, England. And sounds like you and I are townies.
Yeah.
So what was the, but did you do makeup and the theater in school or anything?
No, it was very, we were kind of left up to do our own makeup, our own hair, our own stuff. There really was no emphasis on that at all. So I really knew nothing about that. I just kind of made it up. Because it's Cambridge. It's very intellectual. It's very academic. It's like, no, we're not paying attention to that. Let's just focus on the story and what we're doing, and the rest of it just figure it out. It's fine. So, which is it's a little bizarre to me because visually, makeup, hair, those things do help tell a story. So I don't know why we're glossing over that, but we were. So it really wasn't until I decided to move to Los Angeles, and I was in an acting class at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. And one of my scene partners turned to me and told me that he really wanted to do a monologue, but he wanted to do it in drag. He said, "You know about that stuff. Why don't you help me?" I said, "Okay, great." So we went wig shopping. I took all the makeup I had. I let him borrow one of my Betsy Johnson dresses. We dressed him up. He went before class. Now, unfortunately, his monologue bombed. But the feedback he got was, "Who did your makeup?"
Have you ever had that in a movie? A terrible movie, but the makeup was amazing.
That never happened to me in my career ever again.
Oh, take that moment. Take that moment.
Right?
It was just the needle to show you which way to go.
Right. So then that changed course for me and decided that that's what I wanted to do. So I went to makeup school. I went to makeup designery in Burbank. And after that, just started taking every horrible job I could just to get experience. Because that's what you do.
What were the horrible jobs?
Student films, non-union, kit rental only, no money, come here for 17 hours, come back again, another 17 hours. Oh, no, we're not paying for your materials. Oh, blah, blah. Just any horrible thing. Oh, well, we think we can set you up and you can do stuff in a broom closet. Oh, well, there's no lights in there. Okay, well, maybe we can find something. It's just anything. Yeah.
I've been on those shows. The makeup room, I always think, like as a performer, is it's quite a special place, isn't it? I mean, it's like you start the day there, and like I kind of enjoy that bit where you arrive, you with your fellow actors and the makeup and all the gossip about what's going on. It's quite calming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like part therapist, right?
Yes. I mean, we definitely try to make it like that. It definitely is important to us to have a safe space for people to just breathe and just be.
Yeah.
It's like all the chaos in the world can be going out in there, the fighting, the screaming. But the makeup and hair trailer, when you have the right group of people together, that should be a safe haven.
I mean, it seems to me as well, there's a certain personality that is drawn to it that creates that. I've never had a bad makeup artist. I mean, there's been plenty of other people on the crew. You're going, all right, I suppose he's good at holding the boom. But makeup is that safe place for performers. Is that something you learn inherently or it's inherently there?
I think it's what you just said. There are certain personalities that are just drawn to it. Mm-hmm. And who can make it be like that. Also, the other part of this is that, unlike the above the line, your actors, producers, writers, blah, 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 we generally don't have representation. We're part of a union, but we don't have somebody out there fielding jobs for us. Everything is relationship based, and we get our jobs through our peers and through our friends. So what happens is people hire their friends and the people they like to be around.
Right. I think I wish it was more like that, to be honest, for above the line as well and below the line. I mean,
I think it's a lot like that. People always either hire their friends or even when you have a meeting, right? Like the person comes in that has the good attitude or the good vibe. I think I might be projecting, but I think you usually want to hire that person.
I mean, I just think that, I'm going back to the makeup thing. I always just feel like it's that. I know as a performer that is the safe place, that you go and you go and have a time and you feel looked after as a performer. You might be moving around, you're not sure and the makeup person usually makes you feel positive about yourself before you perform, which is incredible, really. I mean, I trust makeup people as a performer. You might make me look like a complete idiot, but it doesn't matter. So I'm thinking, if you just made that decision, I'll go with it. I respect that decision.
Oh, that's very nice to hear.
People appreciate you. What do they teach you in makeup school?
Let me think. Well, it's been a while since I've been there.
But I mean, like some of it is your personality, but some skills, right? Like you go in and they're either like, oh, you're going to do special effects makeup, or you're going to do pretty makeup.
It might be like that now, because I know that schools do change their curriculum around depending on what is happening within the industry. So I have no idea what they're doing now. When I was there, it was based on, you could, if you wanted to just take beauty, but that was primarily if you wanted to do fashion, photography. If you wanted to do film and television, it was strongly advised that you would take the Journeyman program, which was based on the old television and film model, where you basically have to be able to do everything from character work to, beard laying, prosthetics, injuries, bruises. Basically, you could walk into a trailer, they'd throw something at you, and you go, aha, I can do that. Maybe some of the more like specialty stuff like zombies. I mean, that's a different...
Right.
That's going to be a 3-hour makeup with 2 people. That's a different thing. But your any sort of basic storyline that come around, you would know how to handle that.
You cut yourself shaving, you can make that happen.
You can make that happen. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and there used to be a test in our union that covered all those things that you would have to take. I think it was like 18 months after you joined the union, there was an apprenticeship. And then 18 months later, after you actually got in, after your apprenticeship, you would then have to take a test that covered all these things. And then if you didn't pass the test, I don't really know. It wasn't good. I don't really know.
Let's get back to the relationship as well with the intimacy that you have with a performer is kind of, it is very, you're close in on somebody that you don't really know. And there has to be that trust. And you're seeing things like, I know from working with some people that are going, oh, that actually my hairline is not real and all that kind of stuff. You know the dirty secrets.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle that?
Well, everybody's got dirty secrets. It's no thing. It's fine. I guess it's not unlike being a gynecologist. It's like every woman that goes in thinks that her hoo-ha has something special going on. To the gynecologist, it's like, no, honey, I've seen 500 of these a day. It's fine. Whatever it is, it's fine. We'll cover it. If there's something going on underneath the hood, we'll figure it out.
I'm so glad that you described it in that way. I know totally what you mean now, Laura. Thank you.
Have you ever had a time where you were a little like, I was not anticipating that. How am I going to make this person feel comfortable about that?
No.
You're just a beautifully accepting person.
Well, it's, everybody has their own unique, footprint, whatever it is. It's just, usually it's within the actor's head. They're very self-conscious about it. That's very difficult for them to process. But whatever, it's like whatever you have going on, usually other people just don't see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
True. So like, how does the expectation of what you thought it would be like to do makeup and work on sets compare to the reality of what it's really like?
That's an interesting question, because I think I've changed angles on that so many times. I think in my earlier 30s, I thought it was wonderful. Like, this is the best decision I ever made for my life. This is great. Things are going along swimmingly. But like within the past 5 years have been really hard, because we had COVID. And then, with the strikes, that's been really difficult. And it's just become this thing where it's, I never wanted to work in corporate America. And here I am.
It feels corporate.
Apple. We work for Amazon. Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing of it is also is that we're one of the only corporate industries where you also don't have those corporate protections.
Mm-hmm.
Something is going on. What am I going to go to HR? No, I'm not. But in a lot of ways, my expectations really were not that high. I was told by somebody years ago before I got in the union that our unions were not real labor unions, that they were clubs, like joining the Elks Lodge. But in order to have a career, you were going to have to join that club. So I accepted that for what it was. What I didn't realize and what I didn't know would happen, which I don't think anybody could have realized, was, obviously all the things that have happened with the contracts and the strikes and the downsizing, there's that, but also just that how ridiculous Los Angeles would get in terms of cost of living, in terms of surviving. Because my only experience with that was the only other cities I had lived in is New York and LA. And that is so much worse than Los Angeles. I mean, the fact that, when I came here, I thought everything was cheap.
Same here.
Same.
Right?
Yeah.
We all came from New York.
Yeah. I moved from London to New York. I thought New York was cheap. And then I moved to LA and I thought LA was cheap. But now, I hate to say it, London is cheap compared to LA. It's switched.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it's incredible how that has changed around in the time that I've been.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
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 I mean, would you still pick makeup now if you were coming here now?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, really?
No, not the state the industry is in and with everything. No, I wouldn't. I don't regret having picked it, but things are just so different now.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot more opportunity and other things now. I mean, coming up as a Gen Xer, we were not taught to think in an entrepreneurial way. We weren't taught to think about, it was more like, what do you want to do? You're going to get a job. You're going to do that the rest of your life. And then you're going to retire and you're going to die. Right. Maybe walk around a mall in Florida for a while, but that's going to be your life. But
so what else, what other career would you do? Or what are you thinking of switching to something new?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing with all these shutdowns. It definitely gives you a time to reevaluate and time to think about what's important, what's not important. And for me, I think that I've always felt like I had two jobs. One was doing makeup and production, and the other one was repairing myself from having done makeup in production. Because so the other thing of back then is that it's a decade ago, 2 decades ago, nobody was talking about a circadian rhythm. Nobody was talking about how important sleep was. Nobody knew what the adrenals were. It was just like, just work hard. Just work hard and just fine.
Suck it up and get through it.
Suck it up and one day you'll die and it'll be fine.
Do you have a routine that you stick to get you through shows if you're doing like a night shoot or a crazy long day and then you're off for a week and then you have to go back to a crazy schedule?
I don't know that routine. I definitely have habits. Like I'm very good about it. I don't eat catering. I don't eat crafty. I bring
really?
Food. No.
Oh. What's the point? I thought that's why we all did it.
For the free food and coffee.
Food. I tell you what, I was going to ask though about that. It's like, do you, because you're dealing with, number 1 on a call sheet and number 55 on the call sheet.
Yeah.
Do you treat people differently or not?
Absolutely not. No.
Love it. Go on. Tell me more about that. Tell me about doing makeup for number 1 and number 55.
Do you want to tell listeners what you mean by that in case they're not actors?
Number 1 on the call sheet would be the star, the above the line star. It could be Tom Cruise, John Travolta. Number 55 would be someone like me, although I was number 2 on Cooper's Bar. But an actor.
Or it would be like person in bar.
Yeah, no, yeah. But I'm talking, somebody who, you just come in and you're doing 3 lines.
Yeah.
But you still need makeup and you still need a costume. I mean, and I'm just kind of intrigued about that relationship.
You're still a human who deserves respect.
Well, you hope so, but sometimes, but I know certain people don't feel that. Because I often say about LA, this is a city or a town that loves stars and hates actors.
Yeah, it can be, definitely. I will tell you, as someone who's been doing this for a while, and the longer I do it, the more I want to do the person in the bar.
Right.
Because why?
Because they're happy to be there. They appreciate it. Like,
yeah.
Are you saying from your experience that number one or two are not as happy to be there?
Or taking it for granted?
Not necessarily. I think it really depends on the individual. There are definitely some number ones out there that when they come into the trailer, they take all the oxygen with them.
Right.
You know, everybody's going to mind their P's and Q's. Everybody's walking on eggshells. Oh my God, make sure this music is playing. Don't use a coffee maker right now because they don't like the noise, you know, whatever it is. Which is, and you know, some of that just kind of goes along with the territory because they have a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
You're number one on the call sheet, especially on a television show. Chances are that you're also a producer. You're also involved in the writing. You might also be involved in the editing as well. And there's a lot on the line. They're not getting a lot of turnaround. They're hardly getting any sleep. Things are constantly going. So some personalities deal with that better than others.
And we should remind everyone that number one, because of number one on the call sheet, that's why everybody else is employed. If you wouldn't have 55 if number one had passed on the project in the first place.
Maybe.
No, I would say highly likely is that. I mean, that's why I think you have to.
I think it comes from the writers and the producers. You think it's all cast contingent?
Certainly in movies, and certainly if you're doing a film, it's going to be who is your number one, and I would also think that they set from my perspective, I feel like they set the tone for the whole atmosphere.
But then there's also the argument that there are plenty of number ones out there. Right.
But there's only a fair few. I mean, in the film world, that can get a movie greenlit.
Yeah.
Now we're just back to the bleak institution of it all.
I'm not being bleak. I'm trying to find out. I'm intrigued to see how somebody deals with that, because you actually are in a very intimate space with these people who. It's a bit like having, you know, like, oh, you're the person who serves coffee to the CEO, not the work, you know, and the workers. I mean, I like to put it a different metaphor on that. And that's, I think not everybody does that. You have that special relationship that not everybody has. I mean, even the writers and the producers, I think they're shut out of the makeup. That's what I'm saying, is that you actually have that intimacy that they don't really have.
Yeah, we do. And it's, you know, it can be very delicate. And some number ones are absolutely wonderful. And they understand what all the fuss is about. And they would really prefer for people to stop oohing and ahhing over them, because they want to do the work. They don't want the attention. They want to do the work. So, you know, my favorite is when their entourage of representation will show up.
Right.
And they always come into makeup and hair. I don't know why. They always, you know, certainly not doing anything. They always come in and then, you know, kind of, you know, delay things somewhat. And then they go, and then the actor will look at you and go, "Why are they here?" I'm like, I don't know.
I've noticed that as well. I mean, I was held up as a director. I was directing a movie in New York, actually, and the star I found was great, but they were in the trailer for so long because of the entourage.
But you know what happens, though, is that can happen but then production can't get mad at those people. If you have a bad AD, they'll yell at us.
Right, and I think it's unfair because everyone was blaming makeup, and I was well aware because another actress was in there, and she said it's the reps, the agent and publicist and all that are just keeping it going. She's not even close to being made up; they're all just chatting, and we on the set are held up for an hour or so, and you've got a producer saying to me, "We're going to go into overtime." And we're going, no. Which basically means, for those who don't know, that means you're going to have to probably cut a scene.
Yeah.
Or pay extra penalty money.
Well, yeah. But if you're going to pay, if you're on an independent movie, to pay the extra money to the crew, which they're delighted with, the line producer. Yeah, no, but the line producer is saying to the director, you're probably going to have to cut a scene because we're not going to be able to afford to film it.
Yeah, time is very precious.
Yeah. So how do you give it? There must have been, you don't have to name the actor's name, but that's happened to you, right? It must have done. So tell us about that. What it's like when you're in that trailer.
Okay, specifically what are you asking?
Well, you're in the trailer. The reps are there. You're trying to do your job, but you're being stopped from doing your job, and the AD is going, "What the hell is happening with going on?"
Well, it's kind of happens is like when you're just so keyed in, you'll just keep working. I will just keep working. I can do makeup with a war going on. It's fine. That's the beauty of having started in an independent film, right? You're put in these horrible circumstances and you only have a certain amount of time, so you just keep going. So somebody's head can be turning this way, my brush will go that way. I'll follow you. I have great eye-hand coordination from practice.
And do you
must be really good at putting your makeup on in the car.
But I've what I'm kind of intrigued about is that what's going on when you've got the AD on the walkie-talkie and they're basically because they won't give the star number one the shit, they're going to give it to you, right? So how do you cope with that as you're doing the makeup?
Well, I never have a walkie, so that helps. A walkie once on my first union film, and I think it was about 15 minutes before I lost it.
So that's the top tip of the day. Lose your walkie. Right.
Exactly. So they'll have a production assistant come up to you several times and go, okay, how much longer? Okay, how much longer? But, you got to cover your bases also I always have a clock on my station. So we always have an agreed upon time limit of what is allotted to us to get someone done. So I'll just be looking at that and keep track of it. Be like, well, I know you're asking for now, but I've literally had 10 minutes.
Right.
And it's supposed to be 45. So, or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, just let them know that I'm on your side. I am going as fast as I can. And if there's something that I can tweak on set that doesn't have to be done right now, like maybe all I need to do is their lips, you know what, just go get in wardrobe, I'll meet you on set and I'll handle it then.
I've had that situation but I've been a director and an actor, and and it's a different perspective. As an actor, when the makeup person is trying to get on to you and the director or someone says get back, as an actor you're thinking they probably needed to do something there. As a director, I'm thinking, yeah, great, let's get on with it. How do you cope with that situation?
With them telling you to go away?
Yeah, I've been, you're just between takes, and I've seen it's happened to me so many times that the makeup person and who is coming towards me, and they're going, no time, and I'm thinking, and then you just and the actor is thinking, oh, and certainly in my head, the makeup person was probably coming to me for a reason.
Yeah, well, you have to choose when to do that. If we're a wide master and say you got a little bit of shine that maybe would look better if it wasn't there, if we're on a wide master, it's not going to matter. If everyone's freaking out, we're good.
Yeah.
Now, when they yell cut and we're going on to another shot, before anybody has a chance to say anything, I'm going to be right on you.
Great. Yeah.
And the other thing I'm going to do is hopefully I've been able to make friends with the camera department and with the DP. I'm going to go stand behind DIT. And if something doesn't look right, I'm going to point it out to the DP and say, do you want me to go in to fix that? Put it on them. Because that way, if I do go in, Nobody can say anything to me because that guy told me to do it.
Smart. I like the way you negotiate like this. This is
Pick
good.
in your battles. What do you want viewers to know when they're watching a show? What do you want to make sure everybody is appreciating?
That filmmaking is an ecosystem. That there's a lot of people who give their lives, their talents, their energies, and their love into what you're seeing on screen.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that. I think because it does take a village, doesn't it, to make a film?
Absolutely.
Or a TV show.
Or a TV show.
Yeah.
Like a sports.
And it's funny because I feel like the power shifts, doesn't it? Because like on the set, who do you think is the king on the set or the queen on the set?
I don't think there is a king or a queen on a set.
Okay.
Ecosystem. I think that it's like, what's the most important part of building a house? Is it the wall? Is it the roof? Is it the flame?
I think there are certain people then that would probably consider themselves to be the king and the queen, and it's not who people think.
Oh yeah, I've met those people.
Yeah. No.
Are you ever tempted to put an unflattering shade on them because they're being like that?
No.
I'm not talking about performers actually, because I actually think that performers, is bizarrely, especially if you're starting a show, don't have the power. The moment you have the power is usually when the show has come out and it's been a success, or the film has been a success.
Yeah.
Before that, I've always felt this when I've been on a set as a performer. You don't have the power. You're not the most powerful person there. Maybe in season 10, or no, maybe I'm exaggerating.
Season 10.
No, I'm talking maybe season 2 or 3. Once you've committed, your face is committed to film, then maybe you do have the power, but you certainly don't have it at the start.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of actors don't think they have any power.
No.
In my estimation, they kind of feel like this thing of like, well, if you ask for something or you bring something up, that you're just going to be perceived as that persnickety, demanding actor, and then people will gossip about it, and then you won't work. It'll hurt your career. So, that part of that's kind of surprising to me, because I know the crew members don't speak up for themselves very often. You can't even get crew members to call the hotline half the time when there's stuff going on, which is a little scary. But there are actors that have been, somebody specific I'm thinking of, who was hurt on set and had a lot of chronic pain for years. I think she probably still does. And she never said anything because she was afraid it would affect her.
Right.
That's too bad. Do you feel like getting to see that side of things like validates your choice to not pursue that path?
Oh, I never needed validation to not pursue that path. That was just sort of something that just clicked in me that I just didn't want to do anymore. If anything, it just upsets me because I feel like people should be able to speak out on when something's going on, because it really does affect everybody.
Yeah, it would be nice if we could create an atmosphere where that was all right and people were not afraid of losing their jobs.
Nice, wouldn't it?
Well, let's get on that, Dave.
So what is next for you, Laura? Are you concerned at the moment because of the state of the industry as it has been in the last year or so?
Well, I haven't given up on it. I've been able to survive. I've been working enough to pay my bills, but definitely not to the point where I would like. But I'm also just getting to the point too, I'm older and I'm thinking about the next chapter, and there's a whole world out there. There's other things to do. So tying back into what I said before about feeling like I always had 2 jobs. One was taking care of myself, recovering from doing makeup, and the other one was doing makeup. I just got more and more interested in health and nutrition and exercise. So during the pandemic, I went back to school for nutritional therapy, got certified there, and I keep on asking more certifications. I have one in gut health. I'm taking a hormone masterclass right now. And all this sort of self-help, circadian rhythm, response, it's for real. It's so much more important than we give it credit for.
For sure. And you have to take care of yourself to be able to do any of the things you want to do. I'm going to be contacting you about that. I didn't know that was the side thing you do.
No,
I know that's like a big thing that unravels me. And Dave, I think maybe it's same true for you, but kind of like what you were saying, Laura, about like you don't eat crafty, you bring your own food because like certain things, like if you eat too much salt or too much sugar, or like your body throws off, then you don't get enough sleep. And then the next day you're like not so functional. And like you do that for a couple of days, weeks, months, whatever, and then your whole body is off and like you can't think as sharply, you're grumpier, like it wrecks everything. And it's like, you know, if I just wouldn't have had that donut at Crafty, I wouldn't have gone on that path.
I think I find it's the night shoots. It's when you get the call sheet and it says breakfast is at 7 p.m, lunch is at 12 midnight, and I think that's really hard, and I've done a lot of that.
Night shoots are the worst.
Yeah.
They're the worst. You get home, the rest of the world, you're trying to go to bed, the rest of the world is awake.
Yeah.
The leaf blower.
Yeah.
Neighbors barking. It's horrible. And you don't produce melatonin during the day.
No. I mean, we should probably explain to people as well. And then the worst, maybe even worse than that, could be the splits. And we should probably explain what that is when you are doing half day and half night.
Half day and half night. Well, it felt terrible because there's just the turnaround time.
It's a turnaround, yeah.
Yeah. On a first season or pilot for crew members, they only have to give you 9 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The time that you leave, the time you get back is only 9 hours. Well, you're supposed to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep as an adult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not going to happen.
Yeah, we should explain to those who aren't in the industry that the schedules are worked out, and it usually starts on a Monday that you're shooting 7 till 7, and then the next day I think you have to give the actor 12-hour turnaround. But the crew, I mean, God bless you, you're still there when the actors are being wrapped and sent home. That someone's got to clear up. You've got to clear up your station. The people grips are putting stuff in the truck, so they get much less turnaround. But it's all to do with the actor turnaround, and it gets later and later and later as the week goes on, and it usually turns into Friday. They call it Fraturdays in the industry, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is.
You're in a 6-day week shoot, they'll call it a Sunder day.
It's impossible to have any kind of life outside of it also. Like, when you're in production, something, people are like, hey, can you? And you're like, oh, no, I'm in production.
Yeah.
Like, outside life just kind of stops.
How do you cope with that, Laura?
Oh, that's really hard. I mean, I've missed the baby showers, the weddings, the family weekends, and it's... I mean, it's really, really, really hard. So you do try to take your hiatuses or whatever time you have off and try to make the most of it. Mm-hmm. But, and hopefully people in your life can understand, but they don't always.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Because eventually those invitations will stop coming because they're like, oh, well, we thought, but you were working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's even like your world just becomes more and more that industry because you only really understand are the other people that are in it. And it's
isn't it even closer than that? It's the show that you're working on, I found. Yeah. And it's not even the industry, it's the show that you're working on becomes your life. If you're not careful, not about being not careful, it just is. You're spending so much time together and you're working such weird hours.
Well, and that can kind of be a danger zone because you can really see yourself as a person. Mm-hmm. You're working 70 to 80 hour weeks, week after week after week after week. The end of 6 months, 8 months, you don't even know who you are anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel for those that did Game of Thrones in the last season. They did 3 months of night shoots.
Oh.
And there was a moment where I think it was somebody in the costume department where their children came to see them one day and they were like, oh, because they hadn't seen them because they used to get home and the kids were gone to school.
It's true. There really is no consideration for balance, for work-life balance.
Well, and there's so many parents and single parents even in the industry. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And everywhere unions didn't have like some sort of emergency daycare situation because you can get called in for work last minute or something can change last minute. Mm-hmm. And it's like in this industry still calling your boss and saying, I have a childcare situation is not acceptable.
Right.
I have one friend on a show, and her baby's last minute. She brought her son, I think he was about 7 or 8 at the time. She had to bring him into work until somebody could come and pick him up. And she had to hide him from her boss.
Oof.
And I mean, this is stuff that really should not exist.
Yeah.
Be able to come clean and say, like, my situation and receive help. I mean, this is the stuff that like women went through in the late 70s, early 80s, when women were, you know, heading more and more into the workforce, and like you could be fired for having a sick kid and having to stay home.
Wow.
Did that influence your choices of whether or not you would get married and have kids?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I thought at one point that I wanted to have kids, but it was absolutely, I would never be a single parent because I didn't want that. I didn't want that kind of life. I didn't want that kind of life for a child. Nothing against single parents. I just did not want to do that. I went through that as a kid.
Yeah.
But you know, I see my friends going through it, and it's just my heart breaks for them.
Yeah, raising kids is hard with 2 people.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in a city like this where Los Angeles does not take care of its children, from what I see. You know.
Well, with that note, let's move to questions.
I'm not happy, no.
Yeah, I'm not happy.
Back to us being Gen Xers. We survived.
Yeah, we survived.
I died and my parents told me to walk it off, but yeah.
All right, Laura, let's... We're having a great day. Life is miserable.
If you're in the entertainment industry, sometimes surviving is tough.
Surviving, yeah. So we should say we're talking in September 2024, and it's a rough time for most people.
Yeah.
So, if you won the lottery, what would you do right now?
I wouldn't tell anyone.
That might actually be the best answer we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
There might be some clues around, but I wouldn't tell anyone.
Okay, that's fine. Over to you.
There'll definitely be some huge donations made to some charities on my behalf. I would start some sort of relief or strike fund for people in this industry because, you know, the IATSE members don't have a strike fund. It's just meh, deal with it. But yeah. And just travel and, you know, you'd get a postcard from me, but you probably wouldn't see very much of me.
Mystery woman. I like it. What is your favorite snack?
I'm not much of a snacker.
Oh, that's how you stay fit.
I like to eat during my meals.
All right. What is your favorite food then?
I love a good steak.
Did not see that one coming.
Didn't see that one coming. All right, Laura, what's your favorite animal and why?
Oh, a dog. I love dogs so much.
Why?
What? Why not?
I like your economy in these answers. I like that.
We live in West Hollywood. People have dogs, not children.
That's true. All right. Last question. If we really knew you, Laura, what would we know?
Am I hiding something?
You tell us.
I don't know. Yeah, you tell us.
That the console in my car is always a mess.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Now I'm dying to know what's in there. Okay, maybe one last one. If you have do you have any makeup tips for a regular person? Something that you always do on people that like that one thing makes such a big difference that we should know about?
Yes. When in doubt, blend.
Okay.
Blend.
Don't
have those streaks on your faces, ladies.
No.
Well,
no.
Why ladies? Don't be so sexist.
Or gentlemen covering up their cover-upperables.
Thank you.
I had a realtor at the time, and we were looking at the house, but I just was so distracted. I couldn't look at it because all I could see was his bronzer.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Ladies and gents, make sure you blend.
I don't know. So what do you think of the condo? I don't know. I'm a bronzer.
I think I can't trust a person who doesn't blend their bronzer. I cannot buy from you.
I'm so glad you understand me.
I do. We do. This has been very informative and awesome. And thank you for being on and explaining to us what it's like to be a makeup artist. Dave, thank you for telling us what it's like from the performer's perspective.
Well, I think they've got a very special relationship. We appreciate the makeup department. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate you as well. This has been so much fun, guys.
Yeah, super fun. All right. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you soon. Quick shout out to Mike Nicholas for being our tech savior and Carmen Sclafani, also known as Wiser Time. Thanks for our music. And thank you all for listening.